call the September 23rd Planning Board meeting to order. It is 7:03. We have one appointment tonight. It's Danny Albert. This will be the second visit. This is for map 39, lot 3, 40 Connolly Point. It's a setback reduction and a relocation of the primary structure in the Shoreland. Steve, I'm assuming you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so the public knows, we did do a site walk there. So this is a follow-on after the site walk meeting.
And just to recap, because things have changed a little bit since the closure of our last meeting, because there's been some new information that has come to our attention. At the close of the last meeting, we decided that the 24 by 36 house moved back 4 feet would be okay as long as we met the 20% lot coverage. Dan, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but he kind of agreed to that in the meeting, and then after he saw the plan that I developed to get it down to 20%, he said no. He said this is a one-time thing, and I'm not going to lose my paved parking area, and so he just said no. So I ended up calling the DEP and asking what their opinion of this project would be in its current state, which is to take to increase a building from 20 by 34 to a 24 by 36 and move it 4 feet away from the lake. And he said, well, yeah, his point of view was the developed area, provided it was legally permitted, or done prior to 1991 when Waterboro adopted the ordinance. He basically said in that letter that you'll see, because he replied back to Dan, that they'd be okay with that. But then he went ahead and said, however, it appears as though the town of Waterboro must have a more strict ordinance. So I started thinking about that. Now back in 1990, I've been in the environmental business a while. I was well into it in 1991, and there weren't a lot of people around that knew anything, certainly about shoreland zoning. And I myself am still learning about the regs in shoreland zoning. However, I find it very hard to believe that the town would intentionally make that more restrictive. Because from my estimation, I believe that the town just took the state document and cut and paste much of the language right into the 1991 Waterboro document. I don't know that for a fact, but from everything that I've read and I've looked at the state information, it's pretty much the same language. So then the letter came in. I came down and talked to Glenn a little bit today about it, and he's I'm sure he's going to want to get up and speak on this part, but we're trying to decide, okay, well, what, he said, how can I ignore it? It says clearly in the Waterboro ordinance that you can't exceed 20% of the land coverage. And it also says in there, including developed areas. But that's all it says. Now, I guess my point is, if the state would be willing to approve this, then the town should probably follow suit with that, at least until the new shoreland zoning comes out in a year or so, and the town can be specific on what they mean about that. The town may decide that they can do 30% because of the amount of development that's been done around the lake. So Glenn and I were talking. He said, "Well, what can I do?" I said, "I can't ignore this." And I said, "Well, this part of the ordinance hasn't ever been enforced, as far as I know, in the town of Waterboro. So since 1991, lot coverage has never been an issue. Now, if somebody knows something that I don't know or Glenn doesn't know, please bring it to my attention. But I don't think it's ever been looked at or enforced. And I think certainly if the town intended it to be more restrictive, at that time in the early 90s, they would have started looking at that because they would have talked about it. However, the language got into the ordinance, if the intent was to be more restrictive, then somebody would have done something about it. So we talked some more, and I came up with this idea that if the town, as the town goes forward, and there's going to be a bunch of these that are going to come across this board, if the town sort of adopts the state view of this shoreland zoning and the lot coverage, at least that's how the state looks at it. And I've never known the state to become more lenient on environmental issues. And I'm talking about, state permitting, rare endangered species, you go right down the list. And certainly in 1991, the state would not, or the state's version would not have been more restrictive than the Chapter 1000 of today. I can't believe it would be, just because of where they're headed in the environmental protection. So we talked and we said, well, if the town adopts, as long as the structure that is to be relocated does not cause the lot to become more non-conforming by getting closer to the resource or closer to a sideline, or and it does not increase the developed area of the lot, then it should be okay until the new ordinance comes out. And then it can be decided upon at that time how you're going to treat this
Are we
coverage.
talking about a new ordinance? No.
Well, there's one coming.
Yeah,
There will be.
It will be quite shortly, within a year or so. So Glenn kind of agreed with me. He said, well, you have some good points, but he said, I should probably talk to the town attorney. And apparently did, and without a lot of success in that. So I don't know, Glenn, if you want to say something here, or...
Yeah, I will.
Okay, so that's basically what we're doing. Right now, what we're doing is we're replacing the 20 by 34 structure with a 24 by 36, and we're moving it 4 feet back away from the lake. And keeping all of the other structures. And so the proposed development will be probably around 25% rather than what I had calculated before, which I think was 23%.
Well, on this current map, you show 27%.
That's the current. That's existing development.
Okay.
That's before we do anything.
No, but you have the proposed expansion.
Yeah, I've got the volumes on the left-hand
Okay,
side.
but you're not showing the floor areas. You're just showing the volume, not the floor areas.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I made a pretty simple calculation
Yeah.
for this, but I think it reflects on what's happening, and the total building expansion volume-wise is 27%, and I believe that would be the same case as far as the footprint goes. Would be 27%.
So your lot coverage includes the 2 decks that are pictured on this map.
Yep. Yeah. And well, the deck on the front is going to be moved. it's not going to remain there. So that will actually come out of the coverage calculation. So that's how you get the decrease.
So you have a few corrections to do on this.
Oh yeah, I did this afternoon real quick after we met, and yeah, there's a couple of corrections that I need to do.
What happens to that 4-foot space where the existing 20 by 34 house is? Because you're basically sliding it on the eastern wall, stays right in plane.
Well, I needed to talk to Dan about that. The existing field stone and mortar wall, you were going to replace that.
Correct.
So that would move back in conjunction with the house. So it would be basically all of this development minus the walkway and the deck in the front, and all of the retaining walls would be moved back 4 feet. And that would just be lawn in front of the house.
But the retaining wall is brand new, he's not gonna move that back.
No.
The one on the left-hand side that's crumbling.
The rock wall that's falling apart.
Yeah.
That's the one that goes up and around the house. The one in the front that is brand.
Right.
He's not moving that.
Yes.
That's
What about the patio?
the crushed stone patio.
Yes.
That would stay. That could get vegetated if that was important, but I don't see the need. Because I think we're not increasing the developed footprint.
On
We
Michael
wanted you
Morrison,
to drop it.
And we're reducing.
But we wanted you to drop,
You did. Well, you wanted me to do a lot of things.
well,
Take away all the parking or a good part of the parking and eliminate the walkways and all that. I think that, I'm sure that if you decided to go with this, I'm sure the crushed stone patio could go away.
If we had to. I'd like to hear what they have to say though.
Yeah.
Judy has a question.
Yes.
You say the deck's going, that little walkway to the right of the deck, would that go also?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think essentially out in front of the new retaining walls to the existing new retaining wall along the lake shore, that would just be lawn in there. That would just be grass.
Have you configured it without the deck and without the patio and the walk like we had originally talked about? Or,
Well, when we left, when we decided to go with the 24 by 36
and move it back?
and move it back, and then you said it needed to be at 20%, what I did is I did that calculation. It was all gone, including the 2 walkways to the house. The Connolly Road stayed the same, but the paved parking area decreased 6 feet in all directions in order to get it down to 20%.
Well, what if you put the parking back where it was? Is that more important than the,
Well, the parking is where you see it right now.
but you're saying that you closed it in 6 feet all around, and I'm
Right.
saying, what if you put that back and took out the patios? I mean, that's paved already,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't want to move the paving.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And I'm not
But-
speaking for anybody else, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's something.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Instead of reducing the parking area, take out that deck on the left, the big one.
No. I'd rather not do that, and when I spoke to Mike, do I have to raise my hand?
No.
Last time I said that. Well, I spoke to Mike Morse about this and explained the whole situation, and he was in favor of this because we weren't increasing the volume of this. And the biggest penalty I'm getting here is my right-of-way. My right-of-way is 12,000 square feet on my property. And I explained that to him. He said, well, there's nothing I can do. I said, well, not to sound like a wise guy, I said, what if I remove that right-of-way and put grass? He says, now we have a very interesting scenario, don't we? I said, well, what do I need to do? Because this isn't only for myself, this is for my kids, for my grandkids, future generations down the road. So I want to make sure I do this right, and I'm looking at all aspects. So he didn't know how to answer that. If I removed all that tar and all that dirt and put grass,
Well, I don't think
that's
that-
12,000 square feet right there.
I know, but that's not reasonable.
It isn't reasonable.
No.
You have the butters to deal with as well.
Yeah.
People that have to cross that.
I understand that, but if that affects my property, that's another thing I'm looking at.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the letter from Mike Morse doesn't have much weight on your decision tonight. I'm not taking away anything from Mike Morse, but Waterboro hasn't adopted Chapter 1000 yet. So the only thing the planning board is looking at is Waterboro's shoreline zoning regulations. Although Mike's input is important, I value his opinion, but his letter doesn't have any weight in your decision tonight. So you're looking at a couple of different things. Is the reconstruction or replacement increasing its nonconformity? So with what he's doing, is he increasing the nonconformity stage that he's at? The plan shows moving the property or moving the structure back 4 feet. Is that indeed to the greatest practical extent? Or can he move it back further? And are you going to allow him to exceed the 20%? I think Steve makes a good argument. He's a real good advocate for whoever he works for. You know, the fact that the original lot coverage 27% and they've dropped it to 23, you know, that's bringing the property into more conformity, although it's not entirely conforming yet. I thought I was off the fence on this, and Steve put me back on the fence. You know, whatever criteria you used to make your decision tonight is the same criteria you have to use for other cases that come forward that are similar to this. You know, Mr. Albert had 27% coverage, and Steve dropped it down to 23. So if someone comes, say, with a lot coverage of 35%, you know, what are you going to make them do? So we don't have any criteria in place to guide you as to what to allow. You can't just say you're going to split the difference. If you split the difference in Mr. Albert's case, he would have to be at 23%. But you can't use that criteria because it's not going to work for everybody. So my concern is if we show some flexibility, we have to establish criteria to justify that flexibility from here forward until Waterboro adopts the new shoreline ordinance. That could be a year out. I've just started working on it. It's got to go to the select board, it's got to go to DEP, then it's going to be voted on by the town. That's, as everybody knows, takes a long time.
Have there been no other instances like this come forward in the past year or two?
I've only been here 9 months, and nothing's happened in 9 months.
I've never heard of it. I've been in the town 30 years.
You haven't heard of anyone changing their house to something different?
Sure, it happened all the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They haven't come here to the planning board?
They have. But the 20% coverage issue has never come up.
So
Ever.
somebody didn't read the ordinance.
Possibly, or maybe somebody had called the DEP because they didn't understand, and the DEP said, well, that's all grandfather. Oh, okay. I don't know. All I'm saying is that for 30 years, with that ordinance in place, it's never come up. Seems kind of weird.
I just did some quick calculations. I don't agree with your math at all, Steve, on it, but I mean, I don't have CAD system in front of me.
Yeah?
The building existing now is 34 feet wide. If that moves back 4 feet, that's 136 square feet. If that fieldstone and mortar retaining wall is roughly 30 feet, if that moves back 4 feet, that's 120. So that's a total 256 feet that gets reverted back to undeveloped state, or whatever you're going to call it. The building, if it moves forward 4 feet, is really impacting an additional 8 by 36 feet, which is 288 square feet. So you've actually increased the amount of coverage by 32 square feet. So to go back to Glenn's situation, if you use some calculus, if the building moves 5.14 feet, then it's going to be an equivalent, you'll be gaining the same amount of square foot on the lake side of the lake as you'll be taking on the street side of the house. So I guess in answer to Glenn's question, the way I'm looking, because nothing else is changing, you're not willing to give up anything else. So the reconstruction is an increase. 4%, 4 foot is not the greatest extent possible. And then we leave the 20%. I mean, if you start going 5.14 feet is the breakover point, where if the house starts moving beyond 5.14 feet where it is towards the street, that's when you start getting more lot coverage back. Getting less lot coverage than you're taking.
I didn't follow that at
Basically, your math is wrong. You're going to be giving up 256 square feet, and you're going to be taking 288 square feet. So you've managed to take 32 more square feet of develop. You're going to develop 32 more square feet than's currently on that site right now.
Is my math wrong, computing the cubic footage of the new versus the proposed?
I don't care about cubic footage. I care about square footage.
Okay. It's going to be the same. It's going to be 24 times 36 versus 20 by 34. And that ends up being a 27% increase. And that is under the 30% increase which is allowed.
Well, 30% of
That's volume. That's a different thing than we're talking about, lot coverage.
Okay, well, I've got, it's the same thing. It's going to be 27% of square footage, or it's going to be 27% in volume.
Is the 20% lot coverage only if you are totally destroying a building and building it again? Or does that include just expansions of an existing building?
That's for new structures, new development.
Okay.
And the Chapter 1000 was more clear on that. This is where Waterboro is more restrictive, because it's 20% period.
Kurt, I think you add in the deck and the walkway in the front, because that's going away. So that's going to be a decrease. So if you
But is that becoming a patio? A deck off the house?
No.
Because that's what you said last time. That was going to become a deck off the main
You
floor.
guys actually said I couldn't do the deck on the front. If you remember, you said I had to put it on the side.
But then you said you're not willing to give up anything, so.
No, we already,
the-
already spoke about it earlier.
Yeah, the deck in the front
and the walkway.
and the wood walkway are going away.
But is that becoming a deck off of the
No,
main
it's
floor of the
becoming
house?
lawn.
It's becoming lawn.
Mr. Chair, I don't think there's enough information, accurate information on this map for you guys to decide tonight. There's just too much stuff missing. Nowhere on this plan does it say the deck's going to be deleted. Nowhere on this plan does it address the crushed stone patio. And nowhere on this plan does it address the square footage, floors coverage or square footage. And what else is missing here? The block, and there's nowhere in here that shows how we calculated the 23%. And we need to see all of that. So Steve is guessing between 23 and 24%, and we can't guess on this. We need to see how you got that calculation. We need to see.
I had, on one of the versions of the plans I had it.
Yeah, but this is the version they're looking at. This is the one that
Okay,
counts.
right.
None of the rest count anymore because you've amended it with this one.
Right, but that's, okay.
So the scope of what you're doing is, in my opinion, not clear to the planning board tonight. Because new information is coming up as we keep on talking.
Yep.
And I would want a bigger plan than this. Because, to scale, because right now everything's crammed on this 8.5 by 11. And, the 41 foot, 0.9 inch side boundary line, it's really hard to tell where that goes. I know where it goes, but I'm not sure if any of the planning board members know where it goes.
I don't see the arrowhead.
Yeah. So I think the map detail is going to be clearer and it's going to be blown up to scale on a 14 by, whatever that size is,
11 by 17.
11 by 17.
Tabloid. I also I'd like to see an existing drawing and a proposed drawing, not overlaid onto each other.
Okay.
Even if you take those, even that's an 8 by 10 deck and a 4 by 8, that's 32, that's 80, it's 112. So you gained 32 out of that, you gained 80. You've saved 80 square feet. I don't see how you drop that much percentage by saving 80 square feet.
And I think the spreadsheet, I'll call it a spreadsheet, doesn't have to be a spreadsheet, but it needs to show how those calculations were derived from, not just to give you 27%. We don't know what Mr. Albert's keeping or what he's deleting at this stage of the game. We need to know that.
Right, the existing development is 34,300, so if you take everything that's not proposed, what I did is I calculated a square footage of everything, including the house, the deck, the walks, and it came up to 33,403 square feet.
Is that on your report?
Existing development, right there. Yeah, 27%.
Okay, gotcha.
And the total lot area was 12,809, and that works out to be 27%. And I know we're going down from that. How much? I don't know, and I can, with a little more time, I can.
Right now, if you're taking, if you're giving away the decks, giving away the walkway, keeping the crushed stone, the proposed is you're going to go down 80 square feet. So, you're going to be down to 26.5%.
Well, you're also losing a portion of the deck on the side,
That large.
but you're actually picking that up in the house.
Right. Yeah. So you're not really. Yeah.
You're right.
There's no delta in it.
So if we have to lose the crushed stone area, I'll lose that. I'm not gonna cry over a crushed stone area.
Yeah. Actually, you're at 27. You go with that. I'm sorry. What part?
So is there anything else, Glenn, that you want to see on the plan? Because I'm making notes.
Yep. So you get the floor area, as a note. You can show the floor area. The planning board shouldn't have to make these calculations like Kurt is doing right now. You need to supply those calculations.
Well, I did. He's just checking me with a different kind of
Well,
math,
that's
a new
fine.
math.
If you had them in a form that they were itemized, it would be
Basic calculus. Come on.
It would be a lot easier for them to understand.
I actually showed my work with an answer and everything else. 64x equals 36 times x plus 4.
Very nice.
Got the proof and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it works out to be 25.9. So down 1 point. Yeah, no, leaving the crushed stone, but taking away the decks. So we dropped a point.
Somewhere in our ordinance, it gives the planning board a percentage of what they can approve, and I'll find that. But I think
I've never seen it.
the ordinance allows you like a 15% gratuity, not based on this, but based on the setback.
Yeah, it was a setback one that was. Yeah.
So if the planning board thought they could develop a criteria to allow an applicant to exceed that 20% lot coverage, then that 15% might be that magic number to allow an applicant to exceed.
That seems like a lot, actually.
Well, it,
15% of 20%?
Well, I mean, as long as they're decreasing the footprint, they're heading in the right direction.
yeah, that doesn't always work with all the cases. You know, if you have someone that wants to cover 35% of the lot, you know, his new development, he's knocking it down to 28% or 29%.
Yeah.
That's still way above that 20% rule.
But why has this never, ever come up before until right now? I don't understand.
New set of eyes.
Yeah,
I don't
New
know.
code enforcement officer, new set of
Yeah.
eyes. That's actually enforcing doing exactly his job, enforcing
Right,
the
but
ordinance.
when even Mike Morse from DEP says he approves of what I'm doing,
No, he actually doesn't.
he's
But
the
he doesn't
state,
have to
he's
sit
not
here
the town.
when everybody else comes forward.
Yeah, he actually, the first paragraph pretty much says that with the 50% market value and reconstruction.
I had a conversation with Mike Morse for about an hour on the phone. I know what he said to me.
Well, he also said in writing, he doesn't come right out. You know, there's a lot of caveats he has there, but, you know, he's talking about DEP's Chapter 1000 that was approved by them in 2015. But we haven't adopted that. So that's why I'm saying this isn't really relevant in your case.
Because he does say the town's shoreland provisions, zoning provisions, are more restrictive than the state's. It does not allow any expansion of a non-conforming structure.
Right, and my question is, if that's correct, then how come it's never come up before?
We don't know, and it doesn't really matter. You know, today's today, 20 years ago was 20 years ago.
Same words,
Yeah. And
no change.
you know, the board can't help you with that answer. It's not up to them to help you.
No,
with that
I
answer.
understand that, but I'm trying to understand why nothing has ever been done. I can't believe that everyone's turned a blind eye to that. I mean, the document's been out there.
I mean, actually, to be fair to Glenn, Steve, the planning board's been looking a lot at Section 208 and setback reduction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably one of the last ones that will come to us. From now on, it'll go to ZBA.
For setback reduction.
Yeah.
That's correct, but not for lot coverage.
Right, but I mean, I wonder, on a case like this, does it have to go to ZBA first and then come to us for planning?
No, if you deny it, then.
Then it would go to the
he could
ZBA.
appeal it to the ZBA. And the chances of that passing by the ZBA are pretty slim. He's not going to be able to prove hardship because he's creating his own hardship.
Yeah, and also there's something in the state ordinances, if you bought the lot knowing that the conditions existed, you have no argument. So
Right.
if you bought it knowing that that road was there, you have no argument. And that's the state
Yeah.
argument on it.
I told Joe that the first day I saw him, I said, this is going to be tough, and it is.
Actually, you told me no. Everything was no. You never said, Mr. Albert, Mrs. Albert, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Your exact words were no, no, no.
All right, the board, Drew, do you have any additional questions?
No, I just have concerns.
Okay. Is there anything that we've asked for the Steve to bring back that you want additional, or?
I would like to see his calculations like you did. I still feel like we can't set a precedent, and I feel really badly. I mean, but if we set a precedent on this, what if it takes 1.5 years to get a new ordinance?
Or 2 years.
Or 2 years?
Well, what you're doing is you're unsetting a precedent.
Well, I can't help what everybody else did. I've only been on this board since June.
I understand.
And we've got a new code enforcement officer, we have a new planning officer. So maybe they wouldn't have all been passed, I don't know.
The way I look at it is, we write the ordinance, the code enforcement officer is the one who interprets it.
Mm-hmm.
So every time there's a different one, it may be interpreted differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that his interpretation is the final say.
And that is absolutely right, Judy. The question is it being interpreted correctly?
Well, it looks pretty black and white to me.
It
I
does
don't
look
know.
black and white, but that brings up the question again, why has it never been an
I don't
issue in
know.
the past? I don't either. Logic suggests that if it was an issue, they would have called the state, because this is where the language came from, and they would have got a ruling from the state, and I'm just guessing, but the state would have said, well, all previous development is grandfathered, even though it says right there, including past development. Now, I don't know what the 1991 state shoreline zoning said. I could probably look it up, but I would be fairly certain that that's the language that they used. Because everything else that I've looked at and I checked, it's pretty close, back and forth, from the town ordinance to the state ordinance.
Steve? I remember years ago when I put an addition on one of my houses. Not a problem. Just come in, fill out the paperwork, we'll give you a permit. I walked in, the guy says, "Oh, we can't do that." I mean, 2 weeks ago, you told me it was cool. Now I got things set up and drawn, and now you don't want it. So things change a lot.
I know.
I wasn't moving any closer to my side lot. I was just moving back and still staying in far enough for setback. So people interpret it different ways.
They do.
I feel bad for you. I mean, it'd be nice to move the house back, but, the laws are set. The ordinance is set that, 20% is 20%. Now, you're talking that we might have a 15% leeway back and forth. If you can see that in writing, and we're in that amount of time, I don't see a problem.
If Dan does nothing, okay? If Dan does nothing, the lot coverage remains at 27%. The structure remains 16.4 feet from the lake. All the decks remain. Everything remains. I would think that you would, just the sheer fact that you're moving it away from the resource, you're moving it 4 feet, 5.1 feet away from the lake, that's big. That's what you guys should be looking at.
No, we need to be looking at the ordinance.
The spirit of the ordinance is, as long as you don't make the lot more non-conforming.
But you are.
I don't see how.
But
We're making it
there's
less
two parts to that.
Yeah.
One part is non-conforming, and the other part is the 20% coverage. They're two separate things,
That's
and they
right.
both need to be met. That's how I look at it.
Katie?
Yeah.
Okay. I hear where you're going on, Steve. If this just stayed in perpetuity exactly the way it is, it would stay as a non-conforming lot. Non-conforming structure. I also know, being in this business, the whole fact of moving it is not environmentally unsensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole evolution of moving this building is going to open up. The duff layer is going to get destroyed.
Turmoil.
So there will be a period there that the lake gets adversely affected because of the construction. So, I get it.
Not Glenn's in charge. He's told me. I'm just kidding.
I will tell you as a contractor that the area will be adversely affected. I guess my point on it is I don't have enough information in front. You're right. I made my calculations based on that was 14 feet, so that's got to be 30 feet. I'd like to see what the numbers are going into it. I definitely would like to see. I totally get Dan's your whole opinion on you should be entitled to a nice house that you can have and enjoy for perpetuity. On the other, on the same token, if we do it, the horse is out of the horse is out of the stable. So when do you rein it back in? And
When the new ordinance comes out.
but I'd like to see what these numbers are before we just
Well,
do
I'd
it
like
all
to know,
smoke and
is
mirrors.
it going to be worth my time to put in revising the plan and showing all the, I'll make multiple sets. I can do a set just for calculation, show shaded area. This is what the square footage is, but is it worth my time?
I think if you can't come down to 20%, maybe not. Am I speaking out of turn?
No, everything here is we're not going to vote on anything. It's just, at this point, it becomes informational.
Yeah.
And it's and what said here, that could change with different information that comes in. So I know when I've gone in front of other boards, they do informational stuff. It's non-binding. It's strictly opinion at that point, and you know what they say about opinions. So you are not, in my opinion, you are not speaking out of line.
Okay.
If you get down to, he's talking 15% maybe. I haven't got through it all yet, so I keep trying to read through it. It's a little dry.
It is, and it's
And,
pretty vague.
The closer we get to that 20, it's great that it's moving back, but the closer, because we're going to set this for you, and the next guy's going to come in, well, he just, what you saying, he wants to do 35%, but what if I drop it to 30? Then I could. Well, no.
Have you investigated any of the other things that have gone on in the lake in the past few years? Have you actually talked to anybody else?
I've done a whole bunch of projects.
The one I'm thinking of, this is just information, right? When you come toward the lake, and there's a small road just before you get to the boat ramp, and you go down, there's a great big bluish-gray 2-story house. It's new. It's probably 2-3 years, maybe 4. I know that they broke something down and made that big
Yeah,
house.
they did.
What did they
It's
go
right
through?
next to my other property.
What's that?
It's right next to my other property. How did they do it?
That's my case.
That place is
They
massive.
came in
That's
front
my
of the
case,
board.
right?
I don't know.
What's that?
They came in front of the board.
Yeah.
Dan, do you have a name so I can pull?
It's
the
right
parcel
next,
up?
we own
Yeah,
the old
it's-
Legion Motel. It's probably
Yeah.
3
Oh,
or 4
dear.
camps to the left.
Yeah,
that's
it's
my
right
case.
there.
That's
That
my
camp was
case.
so small, and if you look at it now, how did that happen?
Well, that's the only one that I know of that changed, that I see as I'm going back and forth, and I just,
What
I-
about the one on West Shore Road? He came in and he was going to put a foundation under it, and then when
He
they
went up in the air,
when
put a
they
foundation under it, and then he built away from the lake, put it back
But-
on the foundation.
No, he didn't, because it was so far gone that he had to tear it all down
Oh, really?
and build it up again.
Peter Schill?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a smaller footprint. He didn't increase
Okay.
it, he made a smaller footprint after they tore it down.
But is that 20%?
All he has on there is the house. He has no garage or
There's a
accessory.
deck there.
buildings. The deck, I don't know, I'd have to
I
get the
don't
measurements
remember
on it.
I know
How
the one.
about the other one? Doucette's, is that their name?
Doucette is only 16% coverage.
Okay.
You know, they put a big house in on Silas Brown Road,
Oh, yeah.
but he moved back like 60, 70 feet back from the lake. Yeah, he had a lot that he had the ability to move back.
Right.
They're actually reason that they couldn't stand the boat noise, so they wanted to get further away. And by coming closer to the road, they created more private space in front of the house. My opinion on it is, if you take 15% of the 20%, that's 3%. So 23% is maybe a variable number that we're possible that we could maybe someday use as a figure.
Well, that's all I'm concerned about, if you approve this, you need some kind of criteria to base your decision on. You just can't pull a number out of thin air.
One thing,
I guess the thing I'm looking at, Steve, is right now, if you look at these calculations, and like I said, these are done off of that much, a scale. You're at 25.9. I mean, so it is coming down. So I do think there is some things you could be done to get closer. And I guess my opinion on it, it's strictly my opinion, is a give and take on it. I mean, I'd like to see you get better than what, I don't know if you can get, I don't think you can get the 20, but I do want to see it better than where it is. That's
Okay.
One thing, it's a lot, and a lot of this paving was there. And it's not like he's got an empty lot and building a house. And the road is not his fault. I mean, it's a right of way, and you could, I'm sure, dig up that paving and.
But people are still gonna have to drive.
I know they are. That's what I'm
And it's still gonna
saying.
be considered developed because it will be non-vegetated. So it doesn't matter whether it's paved or not, it's still part of the developed lot.
That's a true statement.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's
I mean,
the case. Grass is developed.
Yeah, it is developed. That's what I feel that way. I mean, I feel your lawn there ought to be grown right up to bushes, but that's.
Katie? No opinion, okay.
Katie, say something.
Hi.
You can agree with me, Katie.
No, I'd like to see a little bit more go down.
If you're gonna tear down that wall, could you make that deck smaller?
Yeah,
To
you did
the
say
left?
You did say that would get 4 feet smaller.
Yeah, but
And the deck in the front is going away and the wood walkway is going away. And the crushed stone patio.
Which,
Maybe. Not yet.
which still leaves the great big wooden deck off to the side, right? I mean,
Part of that's
it's,
gonna go away when he redoes the retaining wall.
it's gonna
I'm
go,
gonna lose all that for a minute. I'm not gonna lose all that. And
it's,
it's not worth it for me.
no, it's beautiful the way you've got it. I understand what you're trying to do because of the issues with the old house.
But you gotta sit in my shoes now. I'm the first case this town's ever looking at like this. You have to look at my shoes. And that's where
frustrating.
I disagree.
No, I know it's
After
frustrating.
all these years, I'm the case report.
You're not, it's not.
You're not really the first. There was a fellow on the other side of the pond, I don't remember, and he wanted to do the same general idea.
20%.
And he could not make it, he was gonna make it worse for himself.
I'm not making it worse.
I mean, he was gonna make it more non-conforming.
More
Yeah.
non-conforming without moving it back and that
See,
kind of.
I'm still not getting how this is making it more non-conforming.
we're not saying it is.
I think
Looking at the drawing here right now, Steve, that's my thing is this area up front is actually greater than this area that you're going to lose back here. So, if you take the decks away, like I said, that helps.
well, you're gonna lose 4 feet of that big wooden deck up front.
Yeah, that's 120 square feet.
Yeah, you're gonna lose the other wooden deck in the front,
That's 80 feet,
and then you're gonna lose the wood walkway.
and that's 32 feet.
And you're probably gonna lose a portion of that concrete area because that's all gonna be moved back too.
And that's 136 feet. And then you're going to gain 288 feet out front moving it. And that's why I said that's where it comes up the magic number. And this is not touching the crushed stone patio. Is 5.14 feet. You move back. That if you move that, so you're taking 5.14 feet out of that deck instead of 4 feet. Now you have a net zero. This was before the 2 decks and the patios. So.
Okay, well, I still don't know, because if you take the difference in the 2 homes and you work it out that way, it should be 27% more of the coverage based on the structures. And just visually, I can see that you're going to make up for that with the wood decking that's gonna come out on the front, and the wood deck on the front and the walkway. So I really can't really follow what you're doing there.
That's why it's gonna be clearly stated, I mean.
Yeah,
none of
no,
us
I
are
get,
from
yeah,
here.
I didn't have time to go through
Yeah.
all those calculations after.
Can I read the board something?
Yes.
Let's see, Article 10. And I'm not implying that this is what the board should do. And this isn't a variance, this is what is it?
A command?
Yeah.
It's a reduction.
Yeah, thank you. A variance if granted, again, it's not a variance, should necessitate only a slight departure from the stated requirements of an ordinance, usually not exceeding 15% increase or decrease from the stated requirements. Now, I'm not sure legally if you can take that paragraph and use it in this case.
Yeah, because that's Article 10 is ZBA.
Yeah. So that's, I'm reading that because that's where I got that 15%.
The funny thing is, we actually call in the planning board thing, when we talk about setbacks, we call it a variance or a setback reduction.
Yeah.
But how far do you stretch to say
Well, I
variance
know-
equals reduction, which equals
Right.
15?
Yeah.
I mean, Steve, it sounds like I think there's more work. I think you got to show more stuff, even if we do the numbers on it. I mean, the guidance always going to boards are ask for the moon, shoot for the stars and hope for the moon. But I think you got to come in with what you propose, and then, we could look at that then and say, what about this? What about that? What's your reason for doing this? What's your reason for doing that? Is that?
Can you give me a target?
I think you can go anywhere between 20% to 27%. So we could do statistically, we put you at 23.5, which coincidentally would be 0.5 above what the variance says. I personally, I think there's things that could be done that could still give the Alberts a great place to be, and help make, because I mean, if we're going to make it more conforming or closer to 20%, I don't think they're differing. I think there is a happy medium in there.
I think if they were at 23%, I could probably honestly say that they're meeting the intent of the ordinance. I don't think they're meeting the intent at 27%.
I mean, just the building alone the building alone increases 27%, going up on the footprint.
Mm-hmm.
So the building is 27% bigger than the current building, but not a lot, 27%.
That's just the
Footprint to footprint.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about though, isn't it? Not volume, we're talking about the footprint.
Square foot. I mean,
Flat.
and then net, I'd like to see where the net goes. Like you said, you're going to redo the retaining wall.
Yeah.
Oh, that has to be done, that thing's falling apart.
Yeah, that anchor's doing nothing. All right.
I think we need to wait. I hate to do that, I thought we'd be all set tonight.
All right, Judy? Katie? Lee?
Yeah, try to get down to that 23% number, and, you know, that's within the 15, I think we can work with that. That's my thought.
So what do we meet on the 7th?
We meet on the 7th, but it's already the deadline to it on by.
Yeah.
You're willing to,
So it would have to be
Do it
the
again?
21st.
Let's see what we can come up with.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair,
okay.
would there be a possibility that if they get it to you with a week to take and review the plans instead of the 2 full weeks, you would accept that? So it would give them time to work on the plans? Because as of right
Can you
now,
do it in a
all you
week?
have is a workshop
I
on
did this
October
this
7th.
afternoon, an hour and a half.
And
Well,
you get, yeah,
you had to come back.
seriously, if I get the night before, I mean, it's not, you know, I don't need, it's not like a site plan that we're doing,
Right.
something like that. I mean, I can live with the 7 days.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I mean, we're actually at, no,
No,
we're 14 days.
September has 5 weeks, 5 Wednesdays in it.
Yeah.
Is that Moneybags Wednesdays or something like that? I'm so sick of seeing that email. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
And we'll have you on that, the very next meeting.
Which is
October
The
7th.
October 7th.
I think we're trying to create special meetings for you guys. Just,
That's good. Well, this is an important topic. It needs to be looked at very carefully.
No, that's between you and Glenn.
Oh, no. You guys too. You guys too. You
That's
guys
very important to me.
very important.
This is my future home.
so you missed 2 meetings, huh?
October, no.
Oh, you just 14th to 18th, okay. All right, so
A wedding.
we'll see you on the 7th then.
Of October,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, and you'll have the changes just to me within a week of that meeting. So I can shoot them over to the planning.
Right, and let me, before I
Uh-oh.
start making changes, I'll make this quick. What I propose to do is I'm gonna show the existing development. And I'm gonna shade everything that I consider as development. And I'm gonna give a square footage, I'll do the breakdown just like I've done here, where it says lot area, existing development. But I'll shade it so you can see what I'm counting. There's not gonna be any math because, you know, my computer, you click a
Yeah.
polyline, it gives you an error. Then I will do another plan that shows what the proposed condition is going to be and do the same calculation. Is that,
That'll work.
all right,
On 11 by 16.
on
17.
11 by 17.
Or small margins.
All right, thanks.
All right, we have no communication,
I
No,
think
this was it.
right?
Right, we did this just for him.
So, we did have just informational, on Monday night was the Water District presentation, Judy and I were there. It was interesting. It talked about the capacity of the water system, expansion of the water system, you know, basically the statuses we are now and where we're going to be 20 years from now. So there's issues at the northern end of the pipeline.
No, by 2020. That's only 5 years from now.
Okay.
Between 2020 and 2030, we'll have issues.
Okay, that's it. So it's good for 5 more years. And right now they currently are seeing between the southern end and the northern end, there's a 30-pound pressure differential in the lines. So Sebago Technics looked at options for it, and they proposed 6 well sites, Townhall, Roland's old lot, Baker's, Shakerland, and up by the dump.
What's Denby?
Roland Denby's.
That's Roland's.
Okay. Top of Roberts
Osby Hill
Ridge.
Roberts Ridge, yeah. So, I mean, they proposed that. There was conversations from the audience. But Doug Fogel brought up some interest point, Dwayne Woodson did too. If you there's a big aquifer up Townhouse Road. If you put it up there, it would feed both ends of the thing, equal pressure. It's in an area that if you put a wellhead protection zone, it's not really affecting anybody. Nothing's been built there before, so there's no contaminated soil. It was just informational. Sebago took all the audience information, and I think they're going to report back October 2nd.
I don't remember.
Something early October. There's a week to make comments, and then they'll make their final report.
They did mention that if the pumping station or well, one of them went down, there would still be enough water for everything except the fire department.
Yeah,
So we would be in big trouble if we had a fire when something was being taken care of, whether it was maintenance or,
failure or whatever.
so they recommended, 2 standpipes because this one here needs maintenance, but you can't do the maintenance because
Can't turn it off.
can't shut it off. The pumps can maintain water flow, but they can't do a fire hydrant. So the idea is more wells in a tank. Tank doesn't affect us as much as the wells do. So it was an interesting meeting, and they were aware of the impact. People in the audience made it aware of the impact of wells in areas that are going to be proposed to be villages. So.
it was interesting.
It'll be impacting the property taxes also, because infrastructure bears directly on the town, on the town taxpayers.
It was sort of a vanilla presentation, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
So
Until Mr. Foglio spoke up, it was vanilla.
yeah, and there was color. But that's it. Is there anything else?
Tammy needed some minutes signed,
Okay.
and your giant signature didn't cut it. So we need a plan on how she can get those signed and mailed.
And not so much the minutes, it's the findings of facts,
Yeah,
that
findings of facts.
that deadline piece that.
So-
I didn't get that email till last night. So
I've covered you.
Yeah.
sweet, thank you.
Well,
And that's why we have
As
officers.
long as the board doesn't,
Yeah.
it's either the chair or the vice chair, as long as Tammy can get a hold of somebody to do it.
Yeah, and Lee wasn't at the meeting, so he couldn't have signed as secretary,
Yeah.
so.
I was actually in town hall on Monday too.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was
last
here too, but I didn't quite have to finish at that time.
I mean, I can work with you, Tammy, too, on that. I'll show you how to do that because that's how we sign all our documents,
Okay.
same way. So.
Yeah, if I can cut and paste it and put it in with I'll get an email from you saying, yes, go.
And
no,
staple
go.
that to the folder and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll have a backup for it,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'll just work on getting that.
But I do have other minutes that need to be signed that,
I can sign them right now.
well, there's probably a year's worth.
I can sign them right now.
I don't have anything else.
It's only 104 of them.
Roughly, yeah.
We need to get Glenn at every meeting.
You
It's
need
been
to get-
discussed.
You need to get a letter to the select board from the planning board.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'll make it.
Judy? Judy seconds. All those in favor, or discussion? All those in favor? So be it, thanks.
Hang on.
Is anybody else going to that meeting?